Check, check, check.
No. Try again.
Check, 1, 2.
Barely.
Turn it all the way up.
It's all the way up.
Check.
That should
open now.
Yeah, there we go. That's it.
Right. It's this microphone. So
yep, I'm ready.
It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents, not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Brand new show this week. All kind of chaos still happening in the real estate world, financial markets, all kind of stuff. I was just reading some news here just as we pulled into the station, but lots of great stuff going on, and also some challenging stuff. We'll talk about what both those means. We just had the brand new market numbers in just this past week, so we have those. They're still coming in. They're fresh off the reports, and so we'll dig into what's happening. They're pretty decent, actually. I was surprised when we talked about that. We would see a little bump after the rates went to 5.99. It really helped the market, and then a week or so later after that, the war kicked in and the rates spiked back up. And so we'll talk about what's happening with that. But I'm very, very pleased in terms of what's happening with the spring market. Think of a small window here. We were seeing a lot of people in town. One of our agents had 9 different clients in town this weekend that are separate people. He had 26 showings booked as of Friday for the weekend. And it's packed. People are in town. Things are happening. So great opportunity right now. And we'll talk about the seasonality, why that matters. And there's a new report. I mentioned it briefly on last week's show that there's the biggest, most successful week of the year to sell a house is coming up in 2 weeks. And they break it down data-wise where actually houses sell for over $5,000 more that week. They sell much faster, and it's crazy. This is like one of the best reports I've seen in a very, very long time. It breaks down the 3 best months, which obviously is really March, April, May. They break it all the way down to the specific time in April. I think that's just like after Easter, everybody kind of gets on it, right? They've been looking at their stuff to do, and they're finally just jumping back on the horse. But I got the data to break it down to prove it, and it's powerful. And so what that means for you as a home seller, and here's the deal. I think there's some massive cracks in the economy. I think there's some massive cracks in the home market, the housing market. And I think we have a small window for you to kind of get maximum dollar. And I think this is probably the most pivotal spring market in a very, 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 very long time. There was just a report came out this past week from Compass, which just bought Coldwell Banker, Century 21, the largest real estate company in the world now, that they think prices get below 2022 levels by summertime on a national level, seeing them decline. So thankfully, houses here haven't quite done that across the board yet. Some areas have. We talked about that last week for the micro market. But lots of great stuff. We'll kind of get in. I want to my job is to help educate you on the same thing we're doing for 15 plus years here is just give you everything real estate related to help you make better decisions for your largest assets. If you want to come back and watch these shows, we stream them live on YouTube. It's having Blake Sloan Radio Show. You can follow me on Facebook at Blake Sloan. We have some awesome other stuff, brand new success stories. Our team's absolutely crushing it. Also have a horror story from a listener who did not call us, but they called us finally. And I still didn't totally get it. And I'll talk about what that means overall. Our investment fund closed on another property this week, another one in Conway, which is an estate sale. Pretty cool experience there with that. Very fair price for them. We outbeat any other investor out there by a significant amount. Oh, we also bought another one in River Oaks that we put under contract. So there's another there. We'll talk about what that means, how you get an instant cash offer, but lots of great stuff. Make sure to stay tuned today.
Any new listeners, just to give you an update on just who Blake is, it's an amazing story. Industry leaders have dubbed him the real estate whiz kid. Been featured in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, NBC, Realtor magazine, and many other national publications. He has been personally endorsed by Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck. One of those by itself is an accomplishment, but all of them together is unprecedented. Last week, we learned a little about how you and your team work and how a good portion of your success has come from the trademark systems you have developed to help both buyers and sellers here in our market. Recap quickly for anyone new to the show what those are exactly, and a quick overview of how they work, Blake.
Yes, Rick, and I'll tell you, this is the story I was telling you about. The horror story has to do with this exact thing. I remember I said that a long time ago, I had a promise that until it stops happening for a while, I'm going to keep sharing it every single show, because by far the biggest, most drastic mistake that anyone makes when it comes to the real estate, and the mistake they make is thinking that all agents are the same, right? They think the agents are a commodity. They operate the same way. which couldn't be any further from the truth. It's our number one struggle we have, right? If anybody who calls the office, the only question they ever ask is how much do you charge, which is not the right question, right? You want to know what that assumes everybody's just a commodity, just like you're buying corn or something, right? But the challenge is they make the mistake of thinking that all real estate agents are the same, and it could not be any further from the truth. Just like any doctor, any lawyer, right? From charge to crime I didn't commit. The last thing I want is some part-time attorney who's tried a few cases, or in this case, I'll tell you the horror story, right? They had a friend that they go to church with. They feel obligated to sell their home for them, and I'll share it now. So we had somebody called in, listener of the show, which I was shocked in this. They are listed their property condo with a friend from church. Friend from church had listed for 6 months, 245. Guess what happened? Didn't sell. That went through, I think through December, January, maybe January expired, January, February, I can't remember. And so did not sell. Then he listened to the show, heard the difference, called us up. Hey, want to know about your guaranteed sold system? Okay, cool. Right. We go meet him. He just wants a cash offer. That's it. But the problem is he listed at 245. It didn't sell at 245. Wants us to buy it at 240. Now, the problem with that is I can't just give you a full market price above what things are selling for. Also, guess what? There's other condos in the complex selling at like 219, 220. And so that would mean I'm paying a cash offer above what other properties are selling for in the same exact complex, which ideally was not a very smart business decision, right? Because you can't do that and lose money. Because you do that, you have two closings, you have closing costs, you have to pay commission. Like it's just one of those things that the reality is there has to be a figure, it has to have some type of margin there, at least to break even, right? In that case. And so the reality was we went through that and say, look, based on that number, for you to get the number that you want, you're probably most likely going to need to go more traditional route. With us, we have a hybrid program called a quick sale. We have 100,000-ish buyers we can match them up to. We can get it sold with our sales system, and we can sell much faster for more money. And he said, only want the cash offer. If not, I'm going to go back to my friend who was the friend from church. We said, why is that? Well, I feel obligated to use friend from church. So obviously, the whole point of this is like the agent, you looked up the agent, they'd sold like 7 houses, right? So like ever in that scenario. And so there's not much money to eat with in that scenario, not much money to market with in that scenario. And that was kind of the thing I share with my business partner that was at the appointment. I said, look, what's the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and expecting different results, right? What's the agent going to do different this time? They didn't sell it last time. But for them to make a decision like that, it goes back to the same mistake everyone makes, is thinking that everyone's the same, right? I already felt obligated once, listed with them for 6 months, did not get it sold, did not have any action or any offers or anything, but then only wants a cash offer, not understanding there's a massive difference between us and everyone else. For example, that agent marketing budget, probably maybe a couple $100 a month, right? Our marketing budget, $100,000 a month. We make 10 to 14,000 phone calls per week. We match up buyers and sellers. So that's the whole thing we talk about with this show, of what makes the biggest difference. If you take anything from it, right? It's a service-based business with a high ticket price. And it has a long sales cycle. So there's so many things that can make or break the home sale. When you're selling a property, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, property gets sold, put money in your pocket. Anything sold incorrectly, aka they drop the ball like that agent did in that scenario. And it can be anything from pricing strategy to photo quality to the order of photos. Most time what you find is that people call the agent trying to get them to, they try to buy it. Agent doesn't answer the phone. If you call most agents, you don't get answer or call back 50% of the time. And so there's potentially buyers trying to buy the property that the agent doesn't get to. Why is that? Because the agent's trying to juggle all the balls at one time. They're trying to get new listings at the same time. They're trying to service other listings they have. They're trying to work with buyers they have. They're trying to show property, try to do the marketing if they do any. They're trying to do all their contract to close, which is like home inspection, negotiation, finance contingencies. And they're also doing all their administrative work, which is like put it to MLS, schedule showings, getting showing feedback. And so what you have there, it's simply impossible for one single person to do everything. But that's how the old school model works in terms of our industry. And it's like having the same person at McDonald's at their front register, the drive-thru, and their French fries at the same time. It's very, very inefficient, which is why there's such a massive failure rate. And this current situation with this person had a situation where they have some government money coming in. The government money will not be coming in starting, I think, in May. And so with that, they only have a couple months to get it sold. They burn through savings. And so the worst thing you ever want to do is go back to the agent that didn't get it sold, burn through your savings. At the same time, the condo market is losing about 13% per year in value right now, which is about $2,500 a month for that person. And so that's a massive mistake people make, but they're still stuck in how they think that things are. And so if anything you take from this show is I want to shift your worldview and say, look, the most important decision you make is the agent you choose. You want to ask the right questions of like, what do you do differently to get my property? So what's your marketing budget look like? What type of marketing do you do? How can you separate my property from everyone else? And how do you negotiate better than anyone else? And those are type of things that we do. And to prove that, I designed this thing called the Guaranteed Sold System. the only proven system, so almost twice as fast and for 20% more money than traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well. For buyers out there, 100 plus variables out there when you're buying a property. They make or break the home sale based on how well they're handled and how well that human executes on those variables. And so that program is called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. You get property access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as home inspection to get you that close table successfully. But both of those are designed to do one thing. They give you a massive competitive advantage when you're buying a property or selling a property. If you want to know more how they work, we went ahead and put a documentary together for you. It's an amazing documentary. It really goes behind the curtains of the industry, exposes the industry of how things work, how people make mistakes, and it gives you everything about how to sell your property for the most amount of money or how to get the absolute best deal. And you can watch that right now today at blakesloan.com. No opt-in. You can watch without putting your email in or anything. You just go right to the site on your phone or your computer and watch it at blakesloan.com. Very, very informational. We'll take a quick break. Right back here in a second.
Here with the only real estate agent in your market that I recommend, Blake Sloan, the Sloan Realty Group. Thanks for joining me today. A lot of real estate companies are making instant offers these days. What makes yours different from what they're offering?
Hey, Sean, that's such a great question. The massive difference is we actually buy your house. Most of those advertisements you hear, even on the same station, are wholesalers. They're just there to lock your property up at a discount price and try to assign it to someone else to make money off your hard-earned equity. Then they leave you hanging at the closing table if they can't find someone else. They never had any intention of closing. Most don't even have the money to close if they wanted to. We're local, we have millions of dollars, and we actually close the deal.
All right, thanks for keeping us up to date. Find out how much demand your home can command right now. Call the agent that creates the most demand. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com. And consider your home sold.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corker. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options for home sales, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. If sellers in a time crunch, you can agree to sell it by a certain date, pay cash for your home, or even rent it.
That's great. And if the seller has a bit more time?
We use our proven marketing plan to sell it for the highest price.
Work with my friend Blake Sloan and get your home sold on your terms.
Welcome back, Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Hey, just going back to what Sean Handy said with that wholesaler thing, huge horror story this week from that. And this is important because wholesalers, what they do is they basically are, in my opinion, crooks. And it actually has become illegal in South Carolina to do it. And but people are still doing it like crazy. And particularly this one, we've had a lot of issues where we've gone up against and heard about this same company or person. They're from Colorado. And calling these people, and this guy that came to us just this week, perfect horror story of what happens. He had a bridge loan, bought a new property, had to sell his other one. The one he's selling was worth about $450,000. His loan, he needed to get $410,000 out of the property. He had a person call them out of the blue, cold call. Again, if they're cold calling you, they're not good at marketing, not doing anything. But the reality is they cold called him, basically promised this world they were going to be an investor, be a cash offer. They send this contract over that locks you in. It gives them some fine print that gets them out of the agreement at any point. And here's the deal. They're not going to ever buy your property. They couldn't buy your property if they wanted to. What they do is they lock your property up in a contract. They go then try to find another buyer, a potential investor, right, to buy that property, and they basically assign the contract. So let's say lock it up at $400,000. They sell it to their investor at $430,000. They profit $430,000. They profit $30,000 without doing anything or ever having to close on it. If they don't find a buyer, guess what happens? You're stuck holding the bag. And that's exactly what happened in this situation. He found out less than 30 days before he has to pay the bridge loan, which is a one lump sum at that point, but loan payment, that person was not really a real investor. They let him out and said, hey, we're not going to be able to close on this. There was a line in the contract that allowed them to get out the contract without any penalty, without any money, and without any earnest money that they had to be able to give up for wasting it. So he wasted about 3 months of this person's time that they could have got it sold for the most amount of money. Now they're up against a deadline that they have to get it sold by, I think it's like May 2nd or May 3rd based on the date. And so we came in, we're able to help them. Thank goodness he found us. install a guarantee system, and we're able to come in and help them. It's not something we're going to interested in buyout, but we have other investors we can directly match it up to through a traditional sale and be able to get it done just in time for the right amount of money. But thank goodness he actually found out and basically pressured the person, and the person admitted they weren't going to close and couldn't close and let them out. And so be very, very careful of those. That's a wholesaler. They can definitely ruin and steal your equity or leave you hanging out last minute, which is a very, very bad situation for most people. Or in this case, a balloon payment for a property that is, $400,000 property. So really quick in a market update. And if you have any questions or concerns about that, and you're not sure if you've been contacted, call us. We're here to help all day long, every day. We're in the office working every weekend, 843-808-SOLD. I'm here to serve you guys, community, serve our listeners. We love our listeners. Or any friends or family you have them call me. We're happy to walk them through it in terms of what's happening. Really quick market update. I'll tell you, things have been really good. We talked about two different types of numbers. With the front windshield numbers, that's like what closes, what went under contract the last 7 days. Then we have the numbers, which are brand new close numbers just coming in from last month, which are pretty decent actually. So we got crushed in February, March. If you read the February numbers, and we read in March, they were absolutely horrendous, and they bounced back a little bit. That came on the heels of interest rates going down a little bit. But check this out. Even though rates have skyrocketed back up in the last 3-4 weeks, there's so much big money coming in right now. It's insane. So the last 7 days, there's been 551 properties that went under contract with some massive amounts of $233,645,000 under contract. So anything over $200 million is rock and rolling. But check this out. There was 7 properties over $2 million that went under contract in 7 days. Well, that's the biggest I've ever seen it since I've been tracking it. A $4.65 million, a $3.5 million, $3.5 million again, $2.99 million, $2.45 million, $2.45 million, and $2.3 million, all under contract in the last 7 days. So what does that mean? Lots of high-end stuff. Like I mentioned before, the high-end market is still on fire. It's crushing. We're getting buyers from all over who are coming from up north, other areas, even California. They're selling their super high-end property there, which is, average sale price much higher there, coming here, buying a property, lower cost of living, and living like kings and queens. And that's what we're seeing over at. There's 7 properties for $2 million. There's 24 properties over $1 million under contract the last 7 days, and 105 properties over $500,000. So the high end is still crushing. We are seeing some slow down a little bit in like the mid range, which is like 2s, 3s, 4s. So the middle class is getting hammered with inflation. Lots of things that are much higher. I saw this past week, ground beef is the highest it's ever been in history. And so you're seeing that kind of bleed out into the real estate market where interest rates really matter a lot. We'll talk about that in a second. Overall, the good news though, looking at closed deals, which is like the rearview mirror numbers, we got closed deals last month. Single family sales on 5.6% from the same month last year. But the good news is it's up significantly from where it was in February. So February, there's only 727 homes. In March, 888. So significant jump there, thank goodness. And that came on the heels again of low interest rates there in late February, early March, which is super, super nice to see. And it was brief, but it was very nice. It gave a little bit of adrenaline to the marketplace. Looking at prices, median price up 1.8% year over year, which is great. And that comes on the heels of 3 straight months of decline. So median price for homes in December is $375. Then it went down $369, and then a huge drop to $356 in February, and it bumped back up to $361 in March, which is great news to see again. Similar thing happened with average sale price. Average sale price up 5.9% year over year. So you saw that bump happen last month, which is great. In December, at the highest of all time, the highest basically average sale price for single family was $555,000, which was the highest of all time for any resale average sale price. Then it dropped in January to 500, February to 485, and right now we're at 480, but it's up 3.4% from where it was last year. And so that's great news. Overall supply is at 4.8 months of inventory. It's pretty much flat where it was. So we saw a bunch of property expire at the end of first quarter, but a lot of them are actually selling too. Days on market, one thing we're seeing, 114 days on market right now, which is down from where it was in February. February is 123 days right now, 114 days. So nice little drop there. And that came again, the market, we sold 24 in 1 week when rates went down, which is nice. We ended up with 71 properties under contract last month as our team, which is amazing. We just sold 71 properties last month in the month of March, which is one of the best Marches we've had in a very, very, very long time. We got absolutely crushed though in January and February. And so that's one thing. We're in a very interest rate driven marketplace right now. Showings per listing right now, the average listing is getting 4.1 showings per listing. The amount of showings it takes right now is 12.7. And so you still need about 4 times the amount of showings that the average listing gets before it gets a contract. And so that's something to keep watching. Into condos right now, condo sales last month, thank goodness, up 8.3% from the same month last year. Nice little jump there for condos, which was great. Prices jump up first last year, thank goodness, up 8.1%. First time I've seen an increase in price in a very, very long time. Last month, for example, was a 13% decline from the same month last year, 241,000. Now it's at 268 for average sale price, which is great news. Median price down 3.6% from last year, but it is up month versus month. So last February, 200,000, right now 210. So that's great news overall. Days on market for condos, 129 days for the condos that do sell. Unfortunately, only about 40% of the condos that get listed are actually selling. And so the ones that do sell takes about 129 days to sell. Showings per listing, average listing is 2.5 showings the entire time it's listed, which is not very, very good. And right now it's taking about 8.7 showings to get a contract. So you can see about 3 times the amount of showings that the average listing gets to get a contract, which is why it's so important to the agent you choose. You don't want to go pick, right, some random friend from church who's only sold a few houses when you're dealing with your largest asset. You need somebody who can get you that amount of showings, who can get you the exposure you want. And what's really driving that right now is interest rates, right? We hit a 3-4 year low at 5.99%, which is amazing. Then as soon as the war hit, it's really skyrocketed. Last week's show was 6.62%. It was almost a 9-month high. But thankfully, we're back down a little bit as of Friday, 6.41% for a 30-year fix, which is great news. Came down 14 basis points between Wednesday and Friday, which is amazing. A 15-year fixed rate right now, 6.01%. A 30-year jumbo loan, 6.6%. A 30-year FHA loan back in the fives, thank goodness, 5.88%. And a 30-year VA loan, 5.9%. So what's that mean? It means coming back down a little bit. Thank goodness, if you're thinking about selling, you want to tee this up right now into the spring market. And we'll talk about that, exactly why, right after this next break.
Hey, WRNN listeners, Clay Travis here. As investors in real estate, Buck and I both know exactly what to look for to find the agent with the best tools and marketing to get the highest sales price possible for a home.
Totally true, Clay. And here in Myrtle Beach, that agent is our friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. If you need to sell a home and buy a new one, ask Blake about his guarantee.
Get this, Blake guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. And since you know when your current home will sell by and for how much, you can buy your next home without worrying about getting stuck with 2 mortgages.
There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 5-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start packing. That's Sloan Realty Group.
And tune in to Blake's show Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Peter the Fox, lead singer of Rascal Flatts. When I moved an ongoing award for AC Song of the Year, it struck a chord with folks who understand the challenges that come with life's big changes. For many, that happens when it comes time to sell their home. If you're moving on, you want a real estate agent who will make selling your home easy and stress-free. An agent who's willing to let you out of the contract if you're not happy with their service. That's why in Myrtle Beach, I can tell you that Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group markets your home on a whole different level. Now listen, Blake is so confident in his ability to sell your home quickly and for more money that he guarantees to sell it or he'll buy it himself. If you're moving on, trust Blake to provide your family a stress-free home sale experience. Find Blake Sloan online at blakesloan.com, or you can call him at 843-808-SOLD. Start packing.
Welcome to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Hot buyers alert. My team and I work with a ridiculous amount of home buyers. Look at our properties here, the Myrtle Beach Grand Strand area. Anywhere from $250,000 to $4.4 million. If you're thinking about selling, give us a call, 843-808-SOLD. It's 808. So one thing we've been doing here for a long, long time is put our money where our mouth is. Everyone talks about our number one and does this. And the problem is most of them don't even start to try to get buyers for your property until they get the listing and put the sign on the ground. The difference between us and everyone else, get that question all the time. What makes you different? Well, we're spending $100,000 a month, month after month after month before you ever even called us, before you ever even thought about selling. So it's allowed us to create a massive amount of buyers and what we call buyers in waiting. And so right now we have 82,788 active home buyers looking at my property here, Myrtle Beach, Grand Street area. And right now we have they're searching real time on the site. I got Gary Beaver from Pomona, California. I got Lee from Hickory, North Carolina. I got Will from Quincy, Massachusetts. I got Jack from Caston on something. I can't read it. I got Drexel Hill, PA. I got Myrtle Beach, Smyrna, Georgia, Bluefield, Virginia, which is cool. I got New York, New York. Big shout out to Lisa Golombiba from Myrtle Beach. I got Patrick from Brooklyn, New York. I got Emporia, Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, Lexington, Tennessee, and Utica, Michigan. So we have people all over the globe looking to buy. And so what does that mean? It means that we can sell it faster, more money, because we have people who are waiting to look for something just like your property. And so we have a business model. Our team makes 10 to 14,000 phone calls a week, every single week, matching up buyers and sellers, including a technology we developed. It's like an AI, and it reverse engineers the most likely buyer for your property based on previous search patterns that are in there. So it allows us to know exactly what it is. It scores them on a scale of 1 to 100. And we're able to go in one by one to match that up. That's a heck of a lot different than most agents who just put the listing in the MLS and pray someone brings a buyer, right? So if you want to have that success story, be the next success story. It's your largest asset. Do not gamble. Not be like the listener who just feels obligated to use a person who's only sold a few houses at church. I mean, this is gambling, right? You don't, and that's why we kind of share with them, hey, what happens if they don't sell it again? The relationship's gone, right? And so you want to go with somebody who has the absolute best system, best processes, absolute marketing money and sales team behind it to get the most amount of money. So leads really quick to awesome success story. This is a really cool one. Megan, she owned a beautiful luxury home in Myrtle Beach in a Waterway community, amazing pool in the backyard. Decided it was time to move to Las Vegas, which is pretty cool. She didn't want the hassle of a bunch of random people coming through her home and not the uncertainty of not knowing when it's going to sell. She initially talked to a bunch of different investors. They were only offering pennies on the dollar. She came to us and learned about our quick sale program. We ended up, I designed a custom marketing plan, launched a global marketing blitz to our massive pool of buyers, drove massive traffic. I think we had, 7 or 8 great showings there in the first week, had it under contract, an as is offer right near asking price. One of the highest, it was the highest price per square foot in the neighborhood that sold, which is amazing, and super happy with that. Within 2 weeks now, able to move to Vegas. So that's another example there. Also, we bought 2 more properties this week with our investment fund. Like I mentioned, one was a estate where someone passed away, relative inherited it. We came in and bought it out cash as is. They took the stuff they wanted. We took care of everything else. Very, very great deal, fair deal on that. Just also bought one this week in River Oaks. The person, super sharp business person, and his son went to Coastal, graduated, live out of state, didn't want to deal with it, doesn't want people just tracking through there. And so we came in, made a fair cash offer, exactly what it was. Super, super happy with that. So if you want to be that next success story, reach out, call us. It is the best time of the year right now. Here's the deal. There's some data out right now that just shows, hey, spring is by far the time the sellers have the largest edge. And it talks about more buyers are looking right now than any time of the year. The busiest month of the year, March and April, by far on a graph outweigh almost every other month. The third highest month is May, and you're seeing buyer showings are typically the highest during the spring across the entire year, which means more buyers, improving affordability is more offers for your home. Also, statistically, you get more offers in the months of March, April, and May. And so spring buyer demand leads to more offers, and the average number of offers received from 2023 to present, 2.9 March, 2.9 April, 2.9 in May, and most of the months you see are 2.2, 2.3 overall. And so that's one thing too. And here's the crazier part. Homes typically sell faster in spring. It shows all 12 months. Guess what? Fastest month is actually April. Second fastest month, May, and the third fastest month is March. And so right now is by far the best time to list your property. And statistically, the week of, right, April 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th is the best week to list your property. Realtor.com did an amazing study on it. Homes sold for over $5,000 more that week than any other week of the year. And it purely comes down to buyer demand. And so if you want to know more about that, definitely reach out to us. You always want to tee it up. I was telling my team, I was born and raised here. My dad always taught me you make the hay while the sun shines. And so right now is when everyone's coming in. You can see it in the road, see it in the places you go to. Reach out to us. Let's get a plan together. 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com. We'll see you back here next week.